So you can build any automation they need. You've got the technical skills nailed down, but your bank account is still at zero. While you've been perfecting your end-to-end workflows, you've been blind to where businesses actually look for your help. The clients who pay premium rates aren't hiding, they're everywhere. You're just not looking in the right place. Today, I'll show you 3 proven methods for finding AI consulting clients quite easily. These are the same methods I've used over the last decade to scale my 2 consultancies to over 52K a month without any permanent staff. So let's get into this thing. So method 1 is something I hope all of you have, which is a warm network. Now, if you don't have one, don't worry, I got you covered in the rest of this video. But if you do, this is the best place to start because these people already know who you are. They already like you, which means that the barrier to entry is practically zero at this point. If you have no friction, it makes trust automatically established. And that means that you can get into any company a lot faster. So who is actually in your network? That's what we need to look at first. You have people that you used to work with, former colleagues, people that moved to new companies and you might still be in the same one, LinkedIn connections, old managers, classmates if you haven't spoken to them in a while, any friend who's in any place doing something where you want to be. But I get it, that sounds very generic, so we need to narrow that down. And the way I like to do this is to find a tiny list. So I'm going to create a list of 10 to 20 people who are most likely going to get back to me. Now, you don't just make this up in your head. You need to find out reasons why these people might get back to you, which means that you need to do some research first. Find out where they work, what they're doing. Obviously, if they're your close friends, you already know all of this information and they already know you even better than the people who are less acquainted to you. But the point being is that you want to find people who have pains at their company. If this is publicly exposed, even better for you. You can use Perplexity or Google, whatever your weapon of choice is, but you want to go out there and do some research on these 10 to 20 people that you've found. Then you want to make sure that you list them from most likely to respond to not. So the people that you know the best who are definitely going to respond to you, they come to the top of the list, especially if they have some form of urgent problem attached to that at their company. So you also want to find companies who actually have budgets. That's why we're doing this research. There's no point in reaching out to a friend if he works at a company with 3 people and they aren't making money at the moment. They probably don't want your help, or they probably can't afford to have your help even if they do want it. So that's why we do this initial groundwork of building a tiny list based on people who are most likely going to get back to us and give us what we need. Then we get on to step 2, the reconnection method. So you never lead with your ask. Never ever do this. You always lead with them. So if you've spoken to them recently and they're your close friends, then it really doesn't matter how you do this. You can do it very organically because you know them and you can figure out the best way to do it with them. But if it's old classmates or old people that you used to work with, things like that, maybe you haven't spoken in a few months, maybe even a couple of years, you still go in with all about them. So, hey, saw what you've been doing recently. Looks like exciting news. How's it been treating you? And it could be something that they posted on LinkedIn. It could be something that they do in their personal lives. So if they have a podcast, if they make music, if they do stuff like that, piggyback off that first and lead with it. Find out what they've been doing so that it doesn't come across as this, I need help with this, take this transactional thing from me. That's the worst way to approach it. Then once you've been speaking to them for a while, obviously the conversation will flow into whatever it is that you're doing. Now, if they don't get back to you on this, which some of them won't, even though you know them to some degree, you can ultimately then just put in your information and say, hey, I just wanted to let you know what I've been up to. I've been doing X, Y, Z. I've been helping this type of company solve this type of specific problem using whatever the solution is, whatever it is that you're doing with AI at the moment, whether it's strategy, road mapping, or actual just automation. And the super important thing with this is to make sure that you end it with, if you know anyone in your network dealing with this problem, I'd love to help them out. So obviously frame it in your own language, but the point here is that you're moving away from actually asking these people directly for help. So you're not a beggar. You're literally offering them a solution if they know anyone in their network. So they're not directly tied to this ask. There's no awkwardness between you and your old colleagues or your friends if you're kind of coming in there asking for this massive favor. That's not what you're doing at all. And what you can do on top of this is you can even incentivize them to help you more by offering them a percentage of whatever it is the deal that you get out of it if they refer you. So that's something I've done tons of times and it's super valuable. There is a caveat that you need to be aware of though. If they bring you into the company that they work in, you probably can't pay them for that because that's pretty illegal in most regions. Just make sure that you check the laws in your region because you don't want to screw that one up. Otherwise you can get into a lot of shit. Now at this point in the video, if you're wondering who you should reach out to, apart from the things that I just mentioned, you can find these people on LinkedIn, WhatsApp, literally anywhere that you hang out with people. They are part of your warm network. I'm pretty sure you know how to get hold of them. Go onto LinkedIn right now, find your first degree connections and go through each of them, find out the companies that they're working with and approach them that way. This is one of the biggest compounding effects that you could ever do throughout your entire career because each successful project that you work on creates new warm connections. which means there's a whole web of new people who can refer you to new businesses, new friends, give you introductions and things like that. And this is something that I've done my entire career over the last 12 years in consulting, because each time it's brought me a ton of money. And I know you might be thinking that you need everybody to get back to you, but really you don't. You just need to be one person's someone, not the person for everyone. And that's super important to remember, because one person has made me 2.5 million and another person made me 750K. I didn't even have to do work for the 750K one because I just resold people who work for me. So you can see why this is super lucrative. And here we are at the magical method number 2, AI-focused boutique consultancies. Now, boutique consultancies are literally just like the big four. Think about hotels. You have the massive hotels, and then all of a sudden everybody started making these smaller, personally run hotels called boutique hotels. And in consulting, it's very similar. Instead of the big four, it's just a smaller consultancy, usually 2 people up to like a few hundred maybe, but I would say the sweet spot for you is between 2 and 50 people. And that's because they're probably growing in their space right now. If they have less than 10 people, it means that they don't have a shitload of money, which means that for them, staff augmentation is super valuable. So let's dive into why they're perfect for AI consultants. And that's because they already have client trust established. They've already got these relationships built, which means they have a recurring project pipeline that already exists. So I'm sure a light bulb just went off in your head right now, that it means you don't actually have to do the lead gen, because these people are doing it for you. The difference is they're doing all of that, and then you come and augment their team and do the technical delivery. So you can see why it's a win-win relationship. They do all of the hard work for you, and you go and do the technical implementation and delivery for them. And this creates a perfect symbiotic relationship that works for people who are massive beginners all the way up to experienced people. This is something that I've done my entire career as well. It's actually how I started my career in consulting, because I left a help desk and jumped into cybersecurity at a small boutique consultancy for a product that was massively in demand, pretty much like AI is right now. And they offered to train me up in exchange for obviously a much lower salary. And I stayed there for 3 years until I went out on my own. But the point being is, when I was there, I learned how to network. I learned how to deal with clients. I learned from seniors about how to deal with situations on site that I didn't know how to deal with. And at the same time, I built a portfolio of billion-dollar clients across multiple industries in global companies. So you can see why it's so massively lucrative, especially now with this opportunity of AI coming along. Those exact same companies, they are now pivoting to AI, transformation, strategy, all of that kind of stuff, and they need people like us. The business model behind this is pretty straightforward. They're going to have a project that's worth, let's say, 500K. You take a slice of that pie. It's usually going to be a smaller percentage, obviously, than if you went out directly. But the point being is that if you're starting out, this is an amazing place to start, because you can still make a shit ton of money and you don't have to worry about the lead gen. And then as you get more experience, you get to take a larger slice of the pie. I imagine at this point in your video, you're wondering, okay, cool, that all sounds great, but how the hell do I actually find boutique consultancies? That's pretty straightforward. The first thing I'm going to do is use Perplexity, and I'm just going to give it all of my information, what I'm doing, what I'm looking for, my region, that type of stuff. And I'm going to ask it to find boutique consultancies that offer whatever it is that I'm good at and need augmentation. And it'll give me a list of stuff in my region. But that doesn't always work in the best possible way. Another thing that you can do is use Clutch. So Clutch is usually where people would come and find people to do the work for them, as opposed to us actually going to scout companies on there. But we can use it for our purposes just as well. So you want to come down to the development tab, and because AI is still emerging, you want to click on artificial intelligence. Now, it's super important that we use our filters. So we're going to come over to all filters, and we're going to look for some services. So pick whatever it is that you're doing. I'm going to pick AI consulting. With client budget, you want to make sure that clients have enough of a budget to buy the thing that you're obviously offering. So if you find a company and their budget is only like $10,000, that doesn't really help you, because you're going to get a much smaller slice of that pie. So you want to make sure that the client budget matches whatever it is that you're trying to get out of it. But then we're going to come down here to AI expertise. And again, you see you can choose the things that you want these companies to specialize in so that you can augment their services. By augment their services, I mean that you just act as additional capacity, in case that wasn't clear enough. But we're going to come down here to consulting focus. So we're going to be selling AI strategy, and let's just say deployment. And agency size, we want to make sure that they are quite small. So let's go up to 49 people. Now, I would start with this. I wouldn't rule out someone in the 50 to 249 region, but generally, because these are smaller, they're far more likely to get back to you faster and be more interested in whatever it is that you're offering. I know this not only because I have my own consultancy and have been doing this for so long, but also whenever someone emails me and says, hey, I can do this thing that you're really struggling with at the moment, I'm never going to turn them away. You know, if their CV looks good or their opening message, I'll hop on a call with them, see what they're about, ask them a bunch of questions. And if I see from a consulting perspective and a technical perspective that they're pretty good, even if I don't have work right now, I'm going to keep them on my bench for when a project does come up. So you can see why, as a business, it's super lucrative, because they don't have to pay for you while you're on the bench. You're not a liability to the business, which means you reaching out to these people is not you being a beggar. It's being super helpful because you're a business partner, not a liability on their bench. So let's come down here and have a look. Now, we can see a bunch of companies. You got to watch out because some of them are featured, so they don't actually listen to your filters. You got to come a little bit further down. And then you see we start getting into filter land. So Plego Technologies. Now, I haven't filtered this by region. So, you obviously got to do it by your own region. I wouldn't completely rule out working remotely because my team is based in South Africa, despite me being in London for a while and now moving to the East Coast of the US, but my team is still based out there when I need them. So you're going to come in here and you can see immediately it tells you, so the min project size. So this tells you the smallest client engagement that these people are going to deal with. 10,000 for me is way too small because I want to make at least 25,000 a month, which is pretty much my average month at the moment. If I'm working solo and if I'm selling other people, then obviously that scales to 50 and more. But the point being for me, unless someone's paying me 25 a month, I don't really want to do a lot of work because my minimum baseline doing any project is in the 20s. So we're going to come down here and let's just say magically that Emobisoft is doing 25K. Then I would come down here, I would look and read a little bit about what they're doing, what solutions they offer. You can visit their website, so let's do that, and we can view their profile. So this tells us even more information about who they are and what they offer. And you get the point of where I'm going with this. So it helps you research the companies to reach out to them and augment their services. So again, you're not here to come and sit on their bench and take money away from them. You really need to position yourself as a business partner, staff augmentation, that sort of thing. I would definitely do research once I'd found the company. I would come onto their website, find out what they are, and then I would use Perplexity again to see if they posted anything publicly or anything is available on the internet to talk about any urgent pains that they have or anything that they're trying to get solved that they just don't have capacity for. You're looking for signals, intent that these people need help. And that can happen with if they launch a new product or if they launch a new service offering. If they posted on LinkedIn saying, oh, we just launched our new AI branch of the business. That's a gold mine for you because that means that they're growing massively, in which case you are there to help them grow. But I don't want to waffle on for that for too long. You get the point I was trying to make. Once you've found all of these urgent pain points and the companies that you want to reach out to, again, use organic conversation. Imagine you're talking to someone like me because the majority of people who have boutique consultancies, they're in their 30s, maybe even a bit earlier now, especially with AI being around. But the point is that they're not old stale men in dry suits who expect you to have an MBA and all of that shit. We were once techies or still techies and then just decided to build a business and sell other people's time. So when you reach out to us, just be completely human. Hey, notice that you guys are doing this type of business. I saw that you just opened up an AI branch and you're expanding. I'm doing XYZ with AI at the moment. If you need increased technical capability, let me know. I'm happy to help where I can. And that's totally casual and it positions you as a partner, not as, hey, please employ me. I really need a job because I have nothing else going on right now. And again, you can see why this is super powerful because if you have people doing all the lead gen for you, it's not just you doing it. So you don't have all your eggs in one basket. You've now diversified. You have your warm network and you have these boutique consultancies. But at the same time, every project you do for a boutique consultancy opens up that web of more warm network and more project placement later on. This is something I've used again alongside my entire career. Not only did it start my career, but once I left the first consultancy to go out on my own, I partnered with other boutique consultancies so that they could resell me for doing cybersecurity work as well, and more recently AI work. So the point being, having more baskets to put your eggs in means that you don't have to have this fear of going and doing stuff on your own or going on Upwork and completely minimizing the amount of money that you get for doing the exact same work. Finally, this brings us on to method number 3, which is strategic meetups, or as I like to call it, the engineering fate strategy. So what this actually is you literally attending events where potential clients naturally gather, but it's not necessarily a business event. You're engineering fate by putting yourself in the position where organic conversations can actually happen. And this is far better than outreach because shared interests create instant common ground. The natural conversation flow doesn't push towards any form of sales pitches. And the trust builds a lot faster because you have this personal connection, both doing something that you actually enjoy. So it puts meeting people in front of everything and meeting professionals second. And this is super important because you can actually do things that you enjoy. Instead of going to some shitty industry event where everybody's there dressed in a suit, trying to talk about a whole bunch of stuff that no one really cares about because they know it's just going to lead to sales, you can actually just go and do events that you like. Play table tennis, go play soccer, Go play an MMO somewhere or Dungeons and Dragons, and you can meet people that way. And the conversation flows naturally about what it is that you do, and you'll start to build this relationship with this person naturally. Now, if you're working in AI, automatically people tend to gravitate towards you because they're really interested in it. And if they aren't embedded in it, they want to learn from someone who is, because they learn about all the things that they can do with it. So it's really flashy at the moment. And that puts you in a really good position. The other day I went out with my wife, we met a bunch of people, and the one girl's husband couldn't stop obsessing over AI. And I was like, yeah, I'm an AI consultant. And he just kept asking me question after question after question. He works for a massive company. So the point is, down the road, eventually, this could potentially lead into some form of work. Historically, I used to play table tennis when I was in London. I met a ton of people playing table tennis because you wouldn't believe how many people in tech businesses actually play table tennis. But the point where I'm going with this is that because I was doing something I enjoyed, I could literally just hit a ball and we would start competing with one another, making jokes, trying to be better at whatever it is that we're doing. And then we finally get into talking about what it is that we do. And that whole trust barrier is already broken down because we were having a normal human conversation first. So I hope you can see why this is super valuable for you. Now, if you enjoy AI meetups and stuff, you should definitely go to them. I'm not telling you not to do these things. But for me, I avoid that kind of thing unless I'm going there to learn and to professionally network, as opposed to specifically find leads organically. So the easiest way to find these is to just use locals.org or Meetups. It's an app. I'm pretty sure most of you have heard of it by now. And you can just find any event that you actually enjoy doing in your area. Go out and do it. Meet a bunch of people, because right now, specifically with AI, like I said in the beginning of this video, most people need AI to some degree, or they have this fear behind, if I don't do something now with it, it's never going to work out. So you have this whole thing working for you. The playing field has never been so level ever in the history of work. So make sure you use that to increase your confidence in this, because you don't need to have this super massive degree and be massively trained in whatever it is that you do. You just need to understand how AI works, how strategy works, put the two together so that you can actually deliver value to a business. And it's never been that easy to do something before. And just like what we did with the other two methods, this one also increases your warm network. And all of this becomes your warm network. So again, every project that you do goes further and further down and gets you a whole bunch of new referrals. And here's the fun part of this video. So now I've given you these three methods. There's something you really need to understand. Client acquisition is a business development skill. It's not a technical skill. You can be the world's best end-to-end developer. You could be the world's best LLM builder. But if you can't have strategic business conversations, you're going to stay broke, particularly because everything in life is sales. That's it. Whatever you want to do. When I was making music and I wanted to get my music signed, I had to sell myself effectively, which means I had to know how to market my music and my image to reach out to people, to get it in front of the right people and to get them to actually listen to it, despite hundreds of thousands of people doing the exact same thing. And I had to do it over and over and over and over again. And then I got into other lines of work and I had to do the same thing over and over again. So anyone who says that I'm not a salesman or sales is shit and we should get rid of all the salespeople, they're idiots, because everything is sales. You're married, you have a girlfriend, you have a boyfriend, you sold yourself. So get very good at the way you position yourself in front of these people. You can check out my other video on the screen now, and it will tell you exactly how to position yourself in front of these people. But I hope that this video actually shed some light into the importance of your warm network, and more importantly, how easy it is to actually build a warm network even if you don't have one. Because your long-term game is this: every client becomes a case study, every project creates new connections, and every successful relationship generates even more referrals. You're not just finding clients, you're building a really smart asset that generates clients over time. So your next actions are pretty simple. Pick one of those methods. Any of them can be done right now. Watch my other video on how to position yourself, do some research, and then get out there and start building your network, because that needs to be done twice as fast as you're building your technical skills. Technical stuff can be learned on site. Believe me, I've been doing that shit for over a decade. Focus on building relationships first. And that's it, guys. Leave some comments below. Any questions you have, I will get back to you as fast as possible. Otherwise, check out the videos on the screen now. I'm pretty sure they're going to help you on your journey. Or you can check out my consultant community where I help people like you every single day. See you guys in the next video.